Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cydney, and today I'm going to be talking about ways to avoid a reading slump, why you should DNF more books. I actually wrote some notes here because there are specific things that I want to say. So I wrote some notes, and if you see me looking down, that's why. It's going to be a short and sweet video, but I hope it resonates with you, and I hope that it helps you read more. I hope it helps you learn to put a book down. I just hope that you get something from this. That's my goal. So first I want to define what a reading slump is if you're not somebody who's familiar with bookish terms. Reading slump in essence is when you lose interest in reading, and that could be due to many different causes. So it could be due to your mental health, or it could be due to being busy in life. But most of the time, I encounter for myself and what I see on BookTube is you're trying to either read too many books or you're reading too many of the same types of books. So I experience reading slumps the most when I read the same genre back to back, and either the books are depreciating in quality or they're too similar to the one before it, and there's not enough to differentiate and make it feel like I'm reading something new. So that's when I fall into a reading slump. If I'm trying to do too much, or if I'm doing too much of the same thing. So my number one tip for avoiding a reading slump is to diversify your reads. If you're somebody who reads rom-com a lot, try reading romance that has suspenseful elements. Try reading a thriller. Try reading a literary fiction with romantic elements. If you kind of gridlock yourself into a specific genre, you might fall out of love with it, or you might feel like you're growing out of it, and so you need to try something new. So diversify what you're reading. Put some different types of books in front of your eyes, and I bet you will be able to stick with it a lot better. And you won't ruin your beloved genre for yourself. I used to read contemporary romance a lot, to the point that all the contemporary romances were the exact same. And to this day, I struggle with reading contemporary romance. So don't be like me. Put something else in front of your eyes, and then maybe one day you can go back to your beloved genre and you'll love it even more. Number two is commit to reading a certain amount of time daily. So if you're somebody who tries to read for long periods of time, try to only commit to 30 minutes a day. So that way, if you read 30 minutes a day, you will be proud of yourself for reading 30 minutes a day, but you'll also give yourself some wiggle room. If you decide, oh, I'm actually really enjoying this, and so I'm going to read for 2 more hours, that's great because you're reading, but you also met your minimum. So if you kind of feel like you're somebody who wants to read as much as possible for as long as possible, try to lighten that load. Give yourself a short amount of time to commit to, and then give yourself grace and allow yourself to read more if you want to. So number three is the flip side of that. Stop reading for a period of time. So whether it's a day, it's a week, a month, stop reading, allow yourself to refresh. And when you go back to reading, don't pick up the book that you left off on. Try and read something different. Like I said before, put something new in front of your eyes and allow yourself to go on a different path with a different book. In that same vein, my next tip is if you're not enjoying a book, don't force it. Just because it's a popular book or it's a book that someone you share a lot of book favorites with doesn't mean that it has to resonate with you. Doesn't mean that it's a book for you. There's nothing wrong with you. That's just not your book. And every book is not going to be for you. So don't try to force it. My fifth and final tip is to remove the pressure that you put on yourself about reading. I think that there's a huge focus in the book community about reading a certain amount of books a year or a month. You hear people apologizing, oh, I only read 5 books. I know that's kind of disappointing. No, that's great that you read 5 books. If you make it into a chore, or if I make something into a chore for myself, I'm not going to want to do it. So I've removed that constraint for myself. I try to read when I want to read. If I don't want to read, I don't force it. I do something else. I put my time toward a different hobby. I don't try to force it. So remove those constraints. They're arbitrary, they're self-imposed, they're not real, and they're stopping you from reading. So that kind of leads perfectly into the next portion of this video, which is DNFing a book and why you should do it more. And of course, I want to define it first. So what it means to DNF a book is it means did not finish. So essentially, it's essentially a book that you put down because you're not vibing with it, or it's not the right time, you're not enjoying it, etc. A lot of people who don't enjoy books try to finish them. For me, I used to be that kind of person. However, now I only finish a book that I'm not enjoying if I'm planning to rage review the book, which might not be like the most healthiest thing to do, but it makes me feel like there's a payoff at the end of it. So that's how I handle it. And I can't advise that, but I'm just being honest. That's what I do. My first reason for why you should DNF more books is for every one book that you DNF, there are millions more books that can be taking its place and give you everything that you're looking for. You literally don't have to stick with one book. Like, you don't have to keep reading it. You don't have to keep forcing it. At the end of the day, if you're not enjoying it, no amount of forcing it is going to make you enjoy it. And I've read some books that I've tried to like truck on and power through, and at the end I have been like, okay, like that wasn't as bad as I thought, but the experience wasn't a nice reading experience, and that sticks with you, and that makes you not want to read as much. It makes you not want to read more from that author. It makes you not want to read more from that genre. So just put it down. And that leads into my next point, which is that life is too short. For that book that you've been reading for 4 months, that's 4 months of reading another book that you've missed out on because you have in your mind, I can't read this because I need to finish that. Then you enter a period of not reading anything because you don't want to read that book, but you can't read anything else, and then no books are getting read. So you're placing pressure where it doesn't need to be pressure. Reading is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be political. It's supposed to be engaging. It's supposed to affirm your existence or affirm the existence of other people. And you learn about those people and those experiences through reading. Like, reading is supposed to be expansive. It is not supposed to be hard. It is not supposed to be taxing. Like, you just need to put that book down, okay? Trust me. And my last point is kind of like a joke, but in my mind, I have like this thing where I think that non-living things have feelings in a way. Like, I've had a book, I'm not going to name the book, but I've tried to read it about 2 or 3 times now. I'm going to unhaul it, but in my mind, I'm like, I've had this book so long, and it's so sad that I keep picking up other books. Like, that's not real. Okay, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's not going to connect with literally any other person, but books do not have feelings, and they're not going to care if you put it down and pick up another book. At the end of the day, reading belongs to you. It's something that you're sinking time, money, and effort into, and you should make sure that you enjoy it. You should do everything you can to enjoy it. You should make sure that you're reading as much as possible or as little as possible. Don't listen to what other people are doing. Comparison is truly a thief of joy. Like, don't look at what other people are doing and reading or accomplishing with their reads and think that you have to put that on yourself. Read for enjoyment, read for fun, read for escapism, read for representation, read for understanding, but don't read in competition with other people. But those are all the tips that I have. I hope that they help. I hope that they resonate. Most importantly, I hope that you keep them in mind. If you're in a reading slump, let's get you back reading before the end of the year. I'm so passionate about people reading, and I hope that these help you because these tips definitely are going to help me as well. I need to listen to my own advice. I'm really bad about that, but thank you so much. Again, thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. I appreciate it so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.